The story and legend of Darth Revan is one that walked many paths. The man known as Revan was widely known across the galaxy, but not always widely adored. To some he was known as Revan the Butcher, and to others the Prodigal Knight. Because of his great strife and rift between light and dark in his life, it followed him when the time came to transcend the Force. Today, we will be discussing the death of Darth Revan, Jedi hero, and Dark Lord of the Sith. For the longest time, the final fate of Revan was ultimately unknown. Revan had left his wife Bastila in hopes of finding answers to who and what he was. Revan's quest for the knowledge about who he was eventually placed him in the path of his lifelong adversary, the Sith Emperor. In the outer regions of space, Revan was eventually captured by the long reach of the Emperor, and for 3 years he was held captive until finally being rescued. Over the 3 years, Revan was tortured and could feel the reach of the dark side tugging at his soul, but he held strong. After his escape, Revan decided to attempt to kill the Sith Emperor once and for all, and began a final conquest against the Sith known as Vitiate. Revan, even with the aid of another Sith, was not victorious, however, with the immense power of the Emperor triumphing once more, and the dark being that had once corrupted the heart and soul of Revan long ago seized it once more. For 300 long torturous years, Vitiate held Revan away from the world, constantly poisoning his mind and very being with the power of the dark side. This act caused the very consciousness of Revan to be split into two parts, one that favored the light and held the memory of his wife and child, and the other that held the dark and his absolute all-encompassing hatred for Vitiate. For 300 years he was engulfed by his hatred, but clung to the good he had left. Finally, Revan was freed when Republic forces seized the base where he was being held. Revan once again, however, let the dark within him control his actions, and he gained control over a massive foundry and planned to begin construction on a droid army that would contain enough power to destroy the Emperor. During this period, Revan experienced great inner strife, feeling his body and emotions literally warring with itself. Revan eventually pulled himself back from the brink of despair and back into the light though. After successfully gaining control of himself, Revan was met by a surprise Imperial strike team sent to eliminate him. Although he fought long and hard, Revan was killed a Jedi Master once more. But after Revan's physical death, something particular happened. Deep inside, his dark shone through. Similar to the Sith Darth Sion, Revan's sinister dark half clung to life and refused to die. The poisoned and rotten half of the Jedi became fueled by hatred for the Sith Emperor and refused to let the soul of Revan rest and become one with the Force. The 300 years of torture on behalf of Vitiate had taken its toll, and Revan required blood once more. This half of Revan again fully embraced the dark within and gained control over radicalists who worshipped Revan and his escapades. Now in possession of a willing and fully obedient army, Revan attempted to finally vanquish Vitiate. But Vitiate had been defeated prior, and although in some form still alive, was a much smaller threat to the galaxy at the time. But this fact did not stop Revan, who wished to bring the Emperor back into a physical body and kill him himself, permanently vanquishing the Sith ruler. As a result of the dark half of Revan blindly following one goal, he brought great hardship and strife to the galaxy, involving innocents and bringing them to their ultimate demise. Revan himself had become a far greater threat to the galaxy than Vitiate was, prompting the Republic and Empire to form an alliance to destroy him. Along with the two groups, the light half of Revan aided them in an attempt to vanquish the darker half and allow the Jedi to transcend the Force. The Republic, Empire, and eventually the light Revan all confronted the darker half, and with a combined effort, permanently destroyed it, which allowed the now fully at peace Revan to become one with the Force. But the damage on behalf of the darker half of his spirit remained. Because of his blindness, the Emperor Vitiate was brought back to power and not vanquished. This enabled the Emperor to later launch another sinister plan to destroy the galaxy. So how do you feel about the way Revan finally went out? Do you like the duality that accompanied his death along with his life, giving us all a very bittersweet conclusion to the epic story of one man's life? Or would you have rather preferred a more cut and dry, happy or sad ending to Revan's story? Personally, I really like the way Revan's story concluded, and I like that his actions had actual large consequences instead of just having it end happy or sad definitively. I think it really is fitting that his death, just like his life, was filled with the dark and the light. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to tell me how you feel about the death and overall life of Revan. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.